Welcome to Doctoring the Truth, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on healthcare gone wrong. I'm your host, Jenna Tennell, and with me is my delightful co-host, Amanda House. We're two doctors of audiology here to bring you inside real-life cases where once trusted healthcare providers veered off the ethical path into criminal territory.
Amanda!
Jenna.
Hi. I'm laughing because I counted to 3 and then I couldn't find my little recording dot and then I said go very clumsily, and I shouldn't be in charge of counting, I think, anymore.
You know what? I think we did great.
All right. Yeah.
And in the end, it really only affects you because you're the one that edits the track. So.
Oh, man. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. Did you have a good turkey day?
Turkey Day was good. Adam and I hosted.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of work. I mean, you're busy growing a whole ass human and you've hosted? Good for you.
Yeah, but just my family, a small amount. Both of our families are very small, so it's not hard to host.
When you say small, like, I find it hard to rustle up 10 people for 2 families. So what do you mean is small? Because in Minnesota, come on.
No, so my family, I have one sibling who's married, has 2 kids. So that's a pack of 4 that comes.
A 4-pack?
And then
nice.
My parents, a 4-pack. And then my parents are a 2-pack.
Mm.
And then Adam and I for now are a 2-pack plus a 4-leg. So yeah, 4, 6, 8 people only.
Yeah, that's a nice
if all of us are there.
Yeah.
Of course, like when my parents will be hosting Christmas at their house, and like my aunts and their families will be there too, but it still is small.
Yeah.
It's an additional 4-pack and an additional 2-pack.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yeah, I guess, all things considered, but like all my aunts and uncles and cousins and whatever, they're spread all over the show. So honestly, we find it hard to rustle up a dirty dozen. And now that I'm up in the northern hemisphere, yeah, I spent basically, because when you're new to a job, you have to build up your PTO. So I Thanksgiving Day drove the 6.5 hours down to almost Iowa to see my parents, who
just across the whole state, partner.
refused to move north. The selfish people. But anyway, so for the first time in my life,
you got time to work on it.
I know, right? I normally cook a bunch of stuff. I pride myself on all my little things that I like to make. And I stress out for weeks. Oh, bless your heart. And I stress out, and it's all a thing. I didn't have any time there's no grocery store near me up here that I'm willing to navigate to on icy roads. So I found one grocery store in St. Peter, not the Pearly Gates, for those of you who are not from Minnesota, but one Family Fresh grocery store that was open. I mean, even McDonald's wasn't open, but good for them. Anyway, this Family Fresh was open for another 20 minutes as I passed by.
No way.
So I pulled in and I bought pre-made mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, everything. Everything but cranberry sauce, which apparently my mother forgot to get, and she always has. Anyway, so I'm in line. I'm in line at this grocery store, and the register breaks down, and this poor gal is working on, Thanksgiving Day. It's like 4:00 or something, and she's supposed to close. The register breaks down. We're like, I don't know, 8th in line, and everybody's just happy that they're able to get some form of sustenance this day.
Mm-hmm.
And Savannah, my daughter, had obviously had to bring the parrot Whiffle, which, by the way, you're welcome for Whiffle's guest appearance last week on our episode. My mom was like, I could just hear Whiffle's contribution in the back, the squeaks in the background. That was her. So she had Wiffle in her bird backpack, which is basically a backpack with a clear like dome over it and a little perch. And so there's this parrot like in the middle of the winter
Cute.
in her grocery basket. And I mean, people in line they're not mad about waiting because she took Wiffle out. Wiffle called a bunch of people, and it was like this whole celebration in line. And then we were finally like, oh, I guess they're buying groceries when the when the register came back up. So it was a really kind of pleasant moment. But I tell you what, nuking and microwaving those pre-made sides, a pleasure. There was no stress. It didn't take very long.
There you go.
Yeah, loved it.
There you
Loved every
go.
minute of it.
Maybe new tradition.
Might do it again
for you.
Yeah, I think I need to change my standards.
Well, I'm glad it all worked out and you were able to be with your family still on Thanksgiving.
Same. Thank you. So, without any further ado, what you got for us this week, little mama?
Well, this week we're going to be talking about a doozy of a guy. I mean, they all are doozies, though, right?
Yeah, not in a good way.
No. So, no really disclaimers or trigger warnings for this guy. He's just kind of a big joke of a bloke. And all of my resources will be listed in the show notes, per usual. If you guys ever look at the show notes, usually I'm super like type A and we'll rename them so it's easy for you guys to click on them if you want. And I only did that, I see, to 3 or 4 of them. So
wait, what? Oh my gosh, you're so much nicer than me. I didn't even realize that was a thing we could do. I just put the XQRZ.
I usually edit the hyperlink.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Anyway,
did I skip the gun? Did we? I mean, I mentioned Wiffle was a participant in last week's audio. I mean, there were dogs, and there was a lot of clitter, clatter of corgi and chihuahua nails on hardwood floor in the background. I apologize. Was that?
you know what? I'm just happy you got to have your fur babies with you in the Northwoods.
I know. It was nice.
Yeah.
But they're not here.
So you know what? They can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, before we move into this douche magoosh, we must remind you about Molly B's gourmet cookies that are available at mollybees.com, and that's MOLLYBZ. So her gourmet cookies are known for bringing bold, artistic, small batch craft cookies straight to your pantry. Have you ordered any of these babies yet? Because I got it.
That's on my TD list because my problem is I don't know if I'm going to share them or not.
You're like, do I ship to up north or do I ship to middle?
I don't know. I can't trust like them waiting to the weekend. I'm going to have to time this or send them up to the woods.
Yeah. So they're known for melt in your mouth textures, high quality ingredients, and incentive flavor combinations, which we have went over before, and they sound absolutely delicious.
Delish.
They are founded by Molly, who's a single mom from Alaska, and the brand has become such a national sensation, y'all, in just 3 years, earning features on the Food Network, Martha Stewart Living, and even the Grammy Awards.
Wow.
And honestly, what a hats off to you to be serving your cookies at the Grammy Awards.
Oh my gosh.
Dang, girl. So we've talked about her signature creations before, the different flavors. So I'm just going to say a couple like standouts. The Hot Mess, which is mango, white chocolate, and hot Cheetos. Pina Coladas, which is white chocolate, coconut, and fruity pebbles. That one sounds so good to me right now. Ooh, the Boss Man. Maple syrup, bacon, whiskey, and white chocolate. Are you kidding me?
I bet you that's amazing. I mean, it sounds so weird, but I bet you it's so good. That combination.
Oh my gosh. And I love bacon so much.
Bacon!
So they are perfect for gifting or indulging. And you know what, you guys? It is gifting season is upon us. We know Jesus is the reason for the season, but we're out here Christmas shopping too. So
yes,
if you have someone that you need to get something for, or maybe a Secret Santa or something,
or
maybe surprise them. Yes.
Or a favorite podcast.
Or that, we can send you a P.O. box. So yeah, don't forget about Molly Bees. No bakery trip needed. They're going to come right to your door. Find them at mollybees, mollbz.com, and enjoy 10% off with our code Stay Suspicious.
And that's mollybz.com.
You got it. All right. Well, from really no time like the present, shall we just dive right in?
Let's
do it.
This
Los Angeles?
we do it. I don't know.
Bah, 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 bah.
Sorry.
Okay, now that track's going to be playing in the back of my mind while I'm reading the entire time.
Oh boy. Sorry about that.
That's okay. If you guys hear me stumble on reading, it's because I'm singing, "This is all we want." Except then the other third of my brain will be singing, but this is not how you do it, because actually you're supposed to be reading. You're not supposed to be singing.
Welcome.
And my mouth will still be reading.
To ADHD.
Does anyone else's brain do these things?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's mama brain, probably, first and foremost.
Mm.
But as an proud card-carrying ADHD person, I will say, I feel you. I feel you, girl.
Yeah. We're just so busy upstairs. I always got 5-track minds.
I mean, my mind is like a filing cabinet where all the files have been thrown in the air, and I can see stuff as it's coming down. But don't expect me to concentrate on one file. I'm going to be looking at the other. Ooh, look at that one.
You don't want to miss something good flying by. Maybe something you haven't pulled out in a long time.
Right?
Okay. For real. Los Angeles in the 1970s was a place of contradictions, with sun-bleached sidewalks, neighborhoods humming with ambition, and pockets of quiet struggle hidden beneath brightness. That's where Anthony Joseph Garcia entered the world on June 7th, 1973. He was born the first of 3 children to Fred and Estella Garcia, a working-class couple whose lives revolved around routine and responsibility. His father sorted mail for a living, and his mother worked as a nurse. Bless both of those occupations.
Absolutely.
People who knew the family remembered them as stable, unremarkable, and quiet. Nothing in Garcia's childhood announced what was to come. He wasn't a problem child, nor a prodigy. No school counselors raised alarms, and no teachers reported cruelty, violence, or disturbing behaviors. He moved through early life like a shadow, present, functional, but hard to get a read on.
Oh my gosh, the way you said that he moved through his early life like a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
How creepy is that?
Creepy.
You're such a good writer.
Thank you. But even in those early years, a few patterns emerged. He was bright, gifted with sciences, but solitary, a boy who seemed to study people more than he interacted with them. He wasn't the kind of kid fondly laughing on the playground. He was the one watching from its edges. Are you laughing?
I'm laughing because
you're swatting a ladybug.
Because a ladybug dive bombed my face right at this really poignant moment where you're talking about this person who's obviously a little bit maladapted, and this ladybug has it in for me. She keeps dive bombing my eyeballs, so I do look like a crazy person. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. He did show ambition from early on, though. Medicine seemed to appeal to him in a way few things did. He liked the structure, the hierarchy, and the authority it bestowed. He liked the idea of mastery, and he liked the certainty. After high school, he moved deliberately through the milestones: the undergraduate studies, medical school prerequisites, a future mapped out like a ladder only he could climb. He didn't make a lot of friends, but he wasn't interested in that. Medicine rewards discipline, he thought, not charisma, and he had the discipline in spades.
He sounds like a surgeon. Sorry.
He entered medical school at the University of Utah, earning his MD in 1999. By all accounts, he was competent. He was smart enough, quiet enough, and diligent enough to move through the curriculum without making any ripples. But underneath the surface, something was stirring.
Ugh.
Supervisors later described him as someone who had difficulty taking criticism, who had thin-skinned defensiveness and a simmering resentment towards authority.
Ouch.
That combination isn't unusual in medicine. Residency programs see it sometimes in trainees who struggle under pressure, but most would eventually grow out of it. But Anthony Garcia did not. If anything, it calcified.
Ooh, narcissist.
After graduation, he took his first residency at Bassett St. Elizabeth Family Medicine Program in upstate Utica, New York.
New York.
His time there did not go well, and after only 6 months, he was forced to resign. Records from the New York Medical Board would later summarize the problem as unprofessional and inappropriate conduct.
Ooh.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't find anything more on that, but that is a statement.
Not a good one.
No. He resigned, and the state issued an administrative warning. So this meant that his name would be flagged if he applied for a state medical license in the future. It was his first fall from grace, the first fracture in a career that needed perfection to survive. And Garcia didn't forget that slight, and he didn't forget it either.
Uh-oh.
He didn't forget it, and he didn't forgive it either. I don't know if I read that right, but that is what I meant to say, folks. Even though I'm like, you did this to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But okie dokie. He then pivoted to pathology. He'd be a doctor's doctor, a field that reads disease in tissues and cells, one step removed from living patients. It was a quieter specialty, more analytical and less social. And for someone like Garcia, it seemed like it should be a refuge, right? Sounds perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
In 2000, he landed in Omaha, Nebraska, joining the Creighton University Medical Center Bergen-Mercy Pathology Residency Program. To understand what happened next, you have to understand Creighton, a respected Jesuit medical center with a tight-knit faculty and a program that prided itself on rigor and professionalism. It wasn't a place where excuses were tolerated or where residents could coast through. Garcia stood out early amongst his class, but not in the way residency directors hoped for. Notes from attendings described him as difficult, erratic, unprepared, defensive when corrected, and increasingly agitated by criticism. Dr. Chandra Butra judged his attitude to be passive-aggressive, stating that, quote, Dr. Garcia showed marked lack of initiative and interest. He took no responsibility for his cases. His knowledge of basic histo is very poor, end quote. She also made formal complaints against Garcia to Dr. William Hunter, who oversaw the pathology residency program. It was the first time she'd ever suggest a pathology resident be suspended. He was the worst resident in my 40 years of teaching. Not good. Right from the beginning, he was adversarial. He did not like me. He was rude in class, and he was quite disruptive in my class, she said. Pathology is a field that demands precision, and when Garcia's evaluations reflected inconsistency, and he was confronted about it, he bristled. His first flirtation with actually getting fired happened after an autopsy. Garcia flipped a body face down and left it that way overnight. The problem with this is that positioning a body in such a manner can cause damage to the face. So it violated both Creighton's policies and, honestly, just common sense.
Disrespectful as well.
Oh, yes.
Not to mention,
absolutely,
like we learned about from our true crime friends, morbid. Lividity can affect many things, right? And it can, you're supposed to be doing an autopsy. Is that the final say? Because you're going to ruin the autopsy if it needs to be continued or someone else needs to have a look for a second opinion.
Yeah.
So,
needless to say, the funeral home director was not happy about the whole situation and would go on to file formal complaints with Creighton's hospital. Faculty members like Dr. William Hunter, who again oversaw the program, and Dr. Roger Brumback, chair of the pathology department, were names that would later become touchstones of tragedy. They were among those who assessed him. Both men were respected figures in the field, stern but fair. They were the sort of physicians who believed the patient's safety and academic integrity came before a resident's pride, which absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen. But Garcia didn't see it that way. In his mind, he was being corrected. He was being attacked. When Dr. Brumback heard about what happened, he wanted to fire Garcia right away. But Creighton's lawyers would inform the pathology department that Garcia would have to go on probation to follow the university's employment practices. By April 2013, Garcia knew that he was on review status, but another incident in the autopsy room was the straw that broke the back. Garcia called the wife of Dr. Hashish, a chief resident who had the day off to take a high-stakes exam, and he had told her that he was missing an important mandatory meeting in the autopsy room. So this prank call caused considerable stress, obviously, to Dr. Hashish, excuse me, and his family, making them, of course, worry, but most specifically for him to worry during the final day of this examination. Tensions began to grow and the evaluations mounted. Meetings with supervisors became combative, and in time, he was dismissed from the program. Panelists recommending the dismissal wrote, It represents unwarranted and unacceptable harassment, and as such represents unethical conduct that damages and undermines the pathology program. This would be a career derailing blow for any trainee, but especially devastating for someone as rigidly ambitious as Garcia. He never recovered professionally, and he never forgot personally. Still, Garcia would go on to another residency program in Illinois after Dr. Hunter wrote him a brief letter of recommendation, which honestly, how gracious that he even did that.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine how hard that letter was to write.
Mm-hmm. I felt that in a different environment, he might recover, Hunter said, explaining why he tried to give Garcia another residency spot. The actions he did at Creighton were unforgivable, but maybe in a different environment, he might do okay. Garcia moved on to the University of Illinois, Chicago, where he would work for only 2 years before leaving due to documented or cited poor health, migraine headaches, and depression. Creighton University Medical Center sat quiet against the Omaha skyline, a mix of beige brick and fluorescent-lit hallways where medical careers were built block by block and sometimes broken just as quickly. For most residents, it was a proving ground, demanding but fair, as I mentioned before, the kind of place where the weight of experienced faculty guided you through the maze of pathology. But for Anthony Garcia, it was something else entirely. To understand how a residency dispute could evolve into a quadruple homicide. That's right.
What?
Spoiler alert.
Oh no.
A quadruple homicide is coming. You have to know the people who walked its corridors, the mentors, the critics, the colleagues who had no idea they were stepping into the crosshairs of one man's growing resentment.
Oh my gosh. I have chills.
The faculty included Dr. Roger Brumback, a national name in neuropathology. Brumback was respected for his precision, his intensity, and his sense of duty. He wasn't a man who played favorites. Residents often found him intimidating, the kind of attending whose silence during a case review could say more than a 10-minute lecture. He wasn't unkind, he simply expected excellence. Dr. William, or Bill Hunter, younger than Brumback, but cut from a similar cloth. He was serious, meticulous, and demanding. Hunter cared deeply about shaping residents into competent physicians. To Garcia, though, he represented something dark, a gatekeeper standing between him and the career he felt he deserved. Dr. Chandra Butra and Dr. Heinrichs, and then, of course, others, They were all the faculty members whose signatures appeared on Garcia's evaluations, the ones who documented concerns about his performance. Most barely even interacted with him outside of the department, and none of them imagined their names would later appear in a murder case file. The evaluations. Pathology residencies live and die by the white sheets of evaluation forms and their checkboxes, handwritten comments, assessments of judgment, professionalism, and reliability. These forms aren't meant to punish, rather they're meant to guide. But again, Garcia did not ever see this as guidance. He saw them as a betrayal. He said that they were racist against him. The reports from Creighton, now part of court records, paint a consistent picture. He was consistently noted to have poor preparation, argumentative response to feedback, angry or defensive reactions, difficulty working with staff, and concerns about judgment and clinical tasks. It wasn't just one report that sank him. It was a pattern of reports.
I mean,
a pile of reports.
Right? I mean, where's the redeeming quality here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, I haven't seen one.
Yeah, okay, maybe you have difficulty working with staff, but you've like excellent judgment, or you're great with staff, but not excellent judgment. He just sucks at everything.
There's no compliment sandwich. It's just all a dirty, shitty, soggy sandwich.
That's right. A poop sandwich.
Yeah. Bleh. When program directors met with him to discuss the issues, witnesses would later recall him as cold, tense, and visibly resentful. He believed that he was being targeted, that others were undermining him. The Creighton faculty were jeopardizing his future. And how dare they? If paranoia had been a low hum in his mind before, it was now growing louder. And in the end, Creighton dismissed him from the pathology program, as I already shared. There was no sudden explosion, no dramatic confrontation, just paperwork, a meeting, and a final decision that Anthony Garcia would not continue at Creighton. But as I also mentioned, Dr. Hunter wrote him that letter of recommendation for another program, which I'm like, let's be thankful here, sir.
Yeah.
For some residents, dismissal is a detour. It can be painful and even embarrassing, but something that they will survive. They regroup, recalibrate, and try again elsewhere. And this is what Garcia initially did when he was dismissed from the family medicine program in New York. But his dismissal from pathology would prove to be different. He didn't regroup. He brooded and stewed. He held on to the names of those he blamed like they were etched into steel. Dr. Roger Brumbeck, Dr. William Hunter. The two faculty members he believed contributed most to his downfall. The decision cost him more than his pride. It derailed him. Medicine wasn't just a job to Garcia. It was validation. It was a scaffolding holding up a man who otherwise seemed hollow, and without it, he drifted. Garcia tried to salvage his career by entering new residencies, but always failed out of them. As I mentioned, Dr. Hunter's letter of recommendation secured him a spot in Illinois and Chicago, but that he had left after only 2 years, and then he moved back to his parents' home in Walnut, California.
Walnut!
He applied for licenses in various states, but the New York disciplinary notice followed him, which, when I read that, I was like, thank goodness, because that's something usually in our cases that's like,
the states
didn't follow you, but it should have.
Yeah, the states are totally unaware of what's heading their way. Yeah.
So luckily for him, it followed. Not only did the New York disciplinary notice follow him, Creighton's evaluations also followed him. Every credentialing committee saw the same record, a resident who couldn't complete programs and left trails of concern. Garcia was then hired by Dr. Anita Kablinger, then director of the psychology residency program at LSU Health Sciences Center in Louisiana, in July of 2007. He remained there only until 2008, when the State Board of Medical Examiners informed him that he might not qualify for a medical license due to the fact that he had not reported his failure to finish the pathology program at Creighton or UIC. The board also notified Dr. Kablinger, who had growing concerns, by the way, about his performance from early on.
It didn't take him long.
He was terminated. Yeah, exactly. He was terminated from the program on February 27th, 2008. So July to February. And the ultimate reason for the dismissal was not revealing the disciplinary action taken against him. Which I'm like, you have to put that on every application anywhere.
Right? So you lied.
Like,
I mean, that's...
You lied.
But also, yeah.
Yeah. So, Dr. Kablinger had met with him and kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt of a conversation of like, hey, anything you want to unveil here?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he told her that his former bosses at Creighton were racist against him.
Okay, I'm going to ask a controversial question because whatever your answer is, it doesn't matter. He's in the wrong here. But is he Black?
He's Hispanic.
Okay, but like when you do this kind of stuff and then hold the race card, you're actually hurting your Latino cohorts because you are, right? I mean, you're behaving in this way and then saying, well, I'm Latino, you're racist. Well, it's like, well, no, but they don't behave like
it's like, well,
we don't expect that of
Latino, but also you're
Latinos.
A freaking asshole.
You're letting the Latino community down,
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So Dr. Kablinger had also called Dr. Hunter at Creighton and was like, hey, want to shed some light on what's happening? And Dr. Hunter verified all of the reasons why he was termed. And she was like, listen, I'm seeing that too. So anyway, he was adios, goodbye from LSU.
Mm.
His life became a rotation of short-term medical jobs, attempts at re-entering training again and again, and periods of unemployment. He began drinking more heavily, and multiple partners and acquaintances later described him as unpredictable, quick to anger, and withdrawn. He grew increasingly frustrated watching other people's lives continue forward effortlessly, or so it seemed to him.
Mm.
Back in Omaha, the pathology department certainly moved on without him. Dr. Hunter advanced in his career, and Dr. Brumback remained an influential presence in neuropathology. None of them gave Anthony Garcia a second thought.
And why would they? Yep.
Exactly. Revenge isn't always a sudden spark, though. Sometimes it's a slow, cruel burn and bitterness that had drug on for years until it hardens into something poisonous.
Mm.
And by the late 2000s, Garcia wasn't a doctor in the traditional sense. He was a man who had tasted failure repeatedly and blamed everyone else for every drop of it. He continued to fixate on those names of the men who once handed him performance reviews.
Yikes.
But before we get more into that, it's time for a chart note.
Chart.
That was different. I felt a little jazzy.
No. Put a little stank on it. Hey. Chart note.
This is going to be a surprise for all of us because I did it so long ago I don't even remember what my chart note is.
Chart note surprise.
Chart note surprise. Welcome to the chart note segment where we learn about what's happening in medicine and healthcare. Okay, here we go. Nestled in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the ADA, oh yeah, I remember this, Foresight Institute has long been a beacon of oral health research. It's been a while since we talked about oral health, guys. Had to bring it back.
RAL, for those of us who are in audiology related, this is about the mouth, baby.
This is about the mouth, not AURA. It's ORAL. Beyond its reputation for dental science, a pioneering team within its walls is rewriting the story of what dental pulp stem cells can do, not just for teeth, but for the body as a whole. This group has identified a remarkable population of stem cells tucked away at the very tip of the tooth root. Unlike their more common counterparts in the pulp chamber, these apically localized dental pulp stem cells have shown exceptional vitality and regenerative potential. They're adept at forming new blood vessels, surviving harsh conditions, and providing rich molecular signals that kickstart tissue repair. What makes Forsyths... I can't say that. Forsyth?
Yeah, no,
I feel like that's a last name from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Forsyth?
No, but that's how you say it.
Well, perfect. Their team's findings are so transformative, and their vision is beyond simply regrowing teeth. These ALDPSCs, which I didn't say before, but that's the shortened version, share many characteristics with stem cells used in bone, nerve, and cartilage repair. Their unique origin of neural crest tissue, the embryonic source of various body structures, gives them a flexibility that few other adult stem cells can match. In laboratory experiments, Forsyth's researchers have seen these cells differentiate not only into dentin-producing odontoblast-like cells, but also into bone and neural-like cells. Moreover, the cocktail of growth factors and extracellular vesicles they secrete encourages the formation of new blood vessels and calms inflammation, two pillars of successful tissue regeneration anywhere in the body. The potential applications are vast. If harnessed correctly, these could help to heal bone defects, regenerate damaged nerves after spinal injury, or support recovery in degenerative diseases where tissue repair is desperately needed. Because these cells can be obtained with minimal invasiveness, because they come from extracted adult teeth or baby teeth that are naturally shed, they offer a practical and ethically favorable alternative to other stem cell sources.
I knew there was a reason why I always save my kids' baby teeth. People make fun of me.
How long?
I know.
How long do we have?
People have made fun of me, like, why have you got all these teeth around you? Look, it's really morbid. I'm like, no, they're my kids' teeth. It's like part of their body. I'm not going to throw it away. Well, now I have an excuse.
You're like, this is for stem cells. Okay.
Yeah, but even weirder, I had to hide them like in my underwear drawer and around because,
oh my.
Well, you want kids to believe in the tooth fairy, right? And then you forget.
The tooth fairy.
Random...
And they're not going to go in mom's underwear.
Right? These random little teeth all over the show. Bless. Okay.
So funny. So yeah, this Forsyth Institute continues to refine methods for delivering these cells to damaged dental tissue. They are also actively exploring how the same principles might translate to therapies for heart, nerve, and skeletal injuries. Their ongoing work on bioactive molecules like resolvins have demonstrated enhanced tissue healing in animal models, hinting at future cell-free treatments derived from DPSC secretions. Though clinical trials directly led by this institute are still in early stages, the momentum is clear. This team stands at the forefront of a new era where the humble tooth's stem cells are poised not only to revive damaged teeth, but to become versatile agents of healing across the body.
Yeah.
A shining example of regenerative medicine's promise realized.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Thank you.
And don't people always say oral health is the mirror to like overall health?
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Look at these teeth. Just out here fixing things.
Teeth. I'm definitely pro-dentite. I'm not anti-dentite.
We are pro-dentite.
Even though we talk about a lot of murderous
We're not anti-dentite.
We're pro-dentite. Yay, go teeth. Nice.
Okay, back to the story.
Boo. This is not boo you, but boo this guy. Yeah.
Boo. Okay, the murders at 5306 North 54th Street, 2008. Before the murders, the victims lived full, textured lives. Dr. William Hunter was by then well established in Omaha, respected in pathology, and balancing a demanding career with family life. He lived in Omaha's Dundee neighborhood, the kind of place where people still waved at each other from their driveways, where neighbors know who belongs on their streets, and where children ride their bikes along sidewalks cracked only by time. It was into this quiet, respectable world that a killer stepped on March 13th, 2008.
Ugh, I hate this.
The home at 5306 North 54th Street belonged to Dr. William Hunter and his wife, Claire, and their 11-year-old son, Thomas, known to everyone simply as Tommy. Tommy was known for his kindness, a boy who loved video games, friends, and the normal comforts of childhood. They had a housekeeper named Shirley Sherman, who was the kind of woman whose loyalty kept households running. She was hardworking, warm, and loved deeply by her family. None of them knew Anthony Garcia. None of them had wronged him. But in Garcia's mind, hurting Dr. Hunter meant striking back at the institution that wounded him.
Oh, no.
Dr. Hunter, after all, was the same physician who had been a part of the committee that fired Garcia nearly 7 years earlier. It was he who had signed off on the termination letter, a document that would later become a symbolic thread tying Garcia to the victims. On that Thursday afternoon, Dr. Hunter was working, as was Claire. Tommy was home from school, and Shirley arrived a little after 1 p.m. to clean, as she had done weekly for years. Someone walked quietly into the home in the middle of the afternoon. No forced entry, no chaotic break-in. Whoever came in knew how to keep calm. And what happened next was brutal. Too brutal for a young boy or a woman whose only mistake was being present that day. The killer stabbed both of them to death.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No valuables stolen, nothing vandalized. A few hours later, Dr. Hunter walked into his home to find a nightmare that no parent should ever have to endure.
Oh.
Tommy and Shirley were both dead, both brutally stabbed. The scene was chaotic. The crime looked personal and targeted, but who could or would want to target such rage at an 11-year-old boy and a housekeeper?
Sweet baby angel and the poor housekeeper. Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Investigators were struck by the brutality and the ferocity of the attack. Each victim had multiple stab wounds. There was no sexual assault, no robbery, no ransacking. Nothing was taken except the sense of safety in the neighborhood. Witnesses described a heavy-set, olive-skinned male in the vicinity, correlating him to a silver Honda CR-V with an out-of-state license plate. The only unusual detail investigators could identify was the connection to Creighton. Thomas was the son of a pathology professor, but even that seemed like a stretch. Academic disputes don't end in slaughter, after all. For years, the police would shift through theories. Was this retaliation, something random, personal hit, a case of mistaken identity? The answers remained elusive, and as the weeks turned to months, the case turned cold. And yet, the murders of Tommy Hunter and Shirley Sherman were not isolated. They were just the beginning, because someone, somewhere, watched from afar as the city grieved and detectives starred.
It's like a horror movie. I can't believe this.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
There were 5 quiet years between 2008 and 2013. Garcia lived a transient, unstable life. He continued to drink heavily, and he failed to keep jobs. He applied repeatedly for medical positions and was rejected again and again and again. Each rejection affirmed the narrative that he had built. They ruined me. They destroyed my career, and they owe me. By now, his resentment wasn't just towards Hunter. It had widened, deepened, and crystallized. If Dr. Hunter represented the beginning of his downfall, Dr. Roger Brumbeck represented its permanence. The senior faculty member whose evaluations had carried weight, whose name appeared in correspondence about Garcia's problems, and whose influence had closed doors. In 2013, Garcia went back to Omaha. He was seeking the darkest kind of closure.
No.
On May 14th, 2013, the next nightmare unfolded, this time nearly 20 miles north of Omaha, in a small, quiet community. In a beautiful 2-story home lived Dr. Brumbeck and his wife, Mary. Like Dr. Hunter, he too had been involved in Anthony Garcia's disciplinary actions years earlier, as we know. And that afternoon, a piano mover and his colleague, so piano mover Jason Peterson and crew arrived at the home where they expected no one to be. They were just moving a piano. And one of the movers noticed a handgun magazine lying in the home's open doorway, and they immediately called the police. Peterson later commented that he saw Brumback's body, but he didn't notice any blood. Detectives were dispatched to the Brumback home where they found that Roger had multiple gunshot wounds and a stab wound to the neck.
Ugh.
And Mary had been stabbed to death, apparently with knives taken from their own kitchen.
Oh, man.
Detectives immediately thought the murders were similar to the Hunter Sherman murders from years earlier. Their suspicion of a connection between the crimes was reinforced when police learned that Dr. Brumback had been a colleague of Dr. Hunter, and the name Anthony Garcia surfaced again, not as an immediate suspect, but as a possibility. Days after the Brumback murders, detectives were alerted that there was an attempted break-in at Dr. Chandra Butra's home. Fortunately, Dr. Butra and her husband were not home at the time of the attempted break-in, and they noted that nothing was missing.
Oh, thank God.
Police surmised that the intruder was scared off by the home alarm system.
Ugh.
Thank God.
Yeah. Oh, he wouldn't have hesitated, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Nope. By the time detectives revisited Garcia's file after the Brumback murders, they found a man who had been spiraling for years. He hadn't been practicing medicine. He was now living in Indiana. He had few stable connections and no long-term employment. But what he did have was time and resentment. Most crucially, investigators discovered something chilling. All 4 victims were directly connected to the individuals responsible for his firing at Creighton. Dr. Hunter fired Garcia, and Dr. Brumback was part of the disciplinary decisions. Tommy Hunter, who was Dr. Hunter's son, his death could inflict pain onto Dr. Hunter, and Shirley Sherman, the Hunter's housekeeper, murdered simply because she was present. This was the motive that investigators had been missing for years. Additionally, they found he had purchased a firearm that would fit the magazine found at the Brumback's home. Also, Garcia's credit card had been used twice in the area near the Brumback's house, which we're glad that criminals are idiots. But
right?
I'm just like,
duh.
Cash, homie?
Okay. Hello.
Phone records would also later show that a search for the Brumback's address occurred only a few minutes after the alarm sounded at the Butros home. I found conflicting research on, like, if he went to Butros home before the Brumbacks or one before the other. But regardless, the big picture is phone records placed him there. He searched the address, and the idiot used his credit card. In July 2013, detectives finally obtained enough evidence to issue a warrant for Garcia's arrest, coordinating with Indiana law enforcement and the FBI to track him. They believed he was responsible for all 4 murders. And what a great belief that was. The evidence included his vehicle, the silver Honda CR-V, which became central to the investigation, especially after surveillance footage from the Brumbacks' neighbors showed a similar car near the crime scene. So they had the magazine that matched the gun he had recently purchased, debit card, and cell phone tracking near the residence of the victims. On July 15th, Louisiana State Patrol spotted Garcia's SUV weaving dangerously on the highway. Inside the car, they found a .45 caliber handgun, 50 bullets, knife packaging, alcohol bottles scattered across the seats,
Wow.
an LSU lab coat, stethoscope, employment rejection letters, printed maps, and GPS data from Nebraska.
Did he live in his car? Like, what was the need to bring all this stuff everywhere you go? What a
Just
dumbass.
broken hopes and
Oh
dreams
my gosh.
floating around with his beer bottles.
What a dumbass. All right.
He's like, I'm not getting rid of my lab coat or my stethoscope.
And all my rejection letters so everyone understands the motive along with the murder weapon. Okay.
Yeah, DA.
Oh, boy.
Raven, that's your dad. Your shadow's freaking her out. If you just heard Raven growl, it's because Adam was creeping in the hallway. Ugh. Okay. I gotta find where I was sitting and I gotta move my leg. Okay.
So they pulled him over. He had GPS data from Nebraska.
Okay. Garcia appeared intoxicated and disoriented, and he was immediately charged with DUI. When officers checked his background, they discovered the active homicide warrant.
They were like, dude,
what a freaking catch.
Let's hold on to you, buddy.
Like, holy shit, we got a big fish here, guys.
You're not going home for dinner tonight, sweetheart.
No, although it appears you may not have a place to go for that anyway. But, yes, so the arrest was quiet, anticlimactic really for what this case deserved, but it marked the end of more than a decade of spiraling fury. The state of Illinois suspended his medical license within days of the arrest.
Is he going to murder the whole state of Illinois for taking away his medical
like that he
license?
wouldn't be able to get a medical license.
No, but my point is he gets pissed off at anyone who, gives him a consequence for his actions.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, anyway.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
This guy has a problem with anger, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit. So his trial began in October 2016 in Omaha, and it was a highly watched and deeply emotional case that brought victims' families back into the painful spotlight. Prosecutors showed evidence from Garcia's home, including a trash bag in the kitchen sink, in which his termination letter from Creighton and handwritten notes with a to-do list that included such items as put tape on your fingers and buy common shoes was found. I'm a freaking idiot. They also found that when Garcia was in Louisiana, he had owned a silver Honda CRV with a license plate fitting the description of the car seen around the Hunter home at the time of the first killings. In addition, his saliva sample matched DNA left behind by the intruder who had tried to break into the Butra house days after the Brumbacks were killed. Prosecutors laid out a narrative built on motive, opportunity, and a pattern of revenge. They chronicled Garcia's failures in medical training, his explosive resentment towards Creighton's pathology department, and the years he spent simmering in perceived injustices. Witnesses testified about Garcia's erratic behavior, his violent temper, and his fixation on past slights. Among these witnesses was a woman named Cecilia Hoffman, who was a former stripper in Indiana. She testified that 4 years after the Dundee murders, when Garcia had tried to pursue her romantically, she attempted to blow him off by saying that she only dated bad boys. According to her statements, Garcia responded by saying he had, quote, killed a young boy and an old woman, end quote.
Oh, not sexy, Garcia. That's not what she meant. Oh, boy.
Not quite it,
No,
sir.
you missed the mark there, dude.
Red flags be a flying.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
She wants to talk to you less now, actually.
Oh, my gosh.
Garcia sat in court largely silent, often slumped and occasionally smirking, and at times he seemed disengaged, and at other times he appeared to teeter on the edge of emotional instability. The prosecution's theory was simple and devastating. Anthony Garcia was a failed physician who blamed Creighton for ruining his career. He murdered the people he believed were responsible and the children or bystanders who happened to be in the way. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated less than 2 days, which I'm like, 2 days, but whatever. On October 26, 2016, Garcia was convicted on 9 counts. 4 counts of first-degree murder, 4 counts of use of a deadly weapon to commit a felony, and 1 count of felony burglary. Sentencing was initially delayed as the state of Nebraska was set to vote on whether to repeal or retain the death penalty. So in November, the state voted to retain the death penalty, and in September, these months aren't making sense, but basically it was delayed. They voted to retain the death penalty, and then later a 3-judge panel sentenced Garcia to death. Garcia's time in prison has been marked by mental and physical deterioration. He's refused food at times, became incoherent during evaluations, and was repeatedly hospitalized for issues related to self-neglect and alleged psychiatric decline.
Shame.
His defense attorneys argued he was incompetent, The court consistently ruled otherwise. And as it stands, Garcia remains on death row at Tecumseh.
Yeah. Tecumseh.
Say who?
Tecumseh State Correctional Institution in Nebraska.
Tecumseh State Correctional Institution in Nebraska. In November 2022, the Public Defender's Office began attempts to appeal his sentencing, and by March 2023 had filed a motion for a new trial, calling his previous attorneys a nightmare. In this appeal, Garcia noted 130 alleged errors made during his trial that involved 15 topics, including motions to suppress DNA and digital evidence, ineffective counsel, and constitutionality of the death penalty. Luckily, his appeal for a new trial was rejected. The court ruled that, quote, "We cannot determine on direct appeal whether counsel was ineffective in certain regards. We otherwise affirm Garcia's convictions and sentences," end quote. Garcia has never expressed remorse or guilt, and he has never spoken publicly about the victims. But through evidence, the testimonies, and the devastation left behind, the story of Anthony Garcia is clear. He's a man whose professional failure metastasized into a murderous rage, claiming innocent lives and leaving permanent scars across Omaha's medical community.
Oh my goodness. What a case. I did not see this coming. Good job.
Thank you.
I have a few questions, but like way in the beginning, it was like, well, even before my question about his career, in the beginning of his career, it's like, was he an only, I can't remember now, was he an only child? Like, how did he develop?
One of three.
So how did he develop this narcissistic behavior where he can't take any criticism and he has to always be right and he's thwarting authority? Like, it's so strange.
I don't know, because also he was the oldest of three. So I feel like if any of those personality traits ever are like fostered or something, it's usually like a younger child who feels like they can't live up to.
I'm wondering if his younger siblings were like way younger. So he had a period of time where he was an only child, where you think you're entitled to everything and you're the bee's knees and how dare anyone and what
And now you're not.
Yeah, and what's his mom was a nurse, his dad was a postal worker. Like where is he putting these? Obviously, I appreciate physicians and medical workers of any kind, but like where is he putting this on this pedestal where if he doesn't reach that, he's less than? It's almost like it was an attack on his personality if he wasn't able to achieve this. So what set him up to where that was unacceptable to be anything else? Anything.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And also, how bad did this initial infraction that we didn't, and I know you don't have the answer, but this initial infraction that banned him from medicine in the first place, and thank God it did, right? Because he didn't actually touch patients, but he must have done something terrible.
Had to have been. And like, my thought is like, well, geez, he didn't want to go after them, and thank God he didn't, right? Like, we don't want anyone else to have been injured, but like,
yeah,
that was kind of the crux.
Right. So that was like the impetus for his fury. Like somehow he was his own worst enemy. And of course, you know, with narcissists, they're the victims. Everyone else is the problem, even though they're the common denominator. But normally you can kind of predict how this was set up and why they're placing such self-worth on this one profession. So there's that question I'm dying to know. But then also I put messing with hashish, pure mean. So I think that was a physician. Yeah. I mean, how dare he? And also references. Oh my gosh. It's such a conundrum, because if you have a student who is somebody that you wouldn't want to hire, how do you open their future in a place that might be a better fit for them by giving them a reference that doesn't deny them opportunity? It's such a hard thing. And if you actually just go ahead and give them like a positive review, that's a reflection on you and your own reputation. So there's a lot on the line. So the fact that Dr. Hunter was a victim in all this is like, you ungrateful piece of shit. I mean, that's an understatement because obviously he didn't deserve to die, but like, obviously this guy had absolutely no clue what people were doing for him in spite of his personality defect. I mean, he obviously, and how much of a personality defect do you need to have to not be able to work with dead people or tissue samples?
Tissues.
I don't know. I can't. This is an incredible story, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Shocking. Well done.
Thank you. Before we move on to our medical mishap, we have to talk about these leggings that I can't try because your girl's super pregnant. So someone please, God, tell me how they are. Tana, I think you went with Tana. Tana activewear was created by one of Lululemon's original designers, built from chief design officer's experience as a competitive athlete who understands, guys, exactly what female athletes need. The brand focuses exclusively on crafting premium black leggings for girls who gym and those who don't. Designed to be the last pair you'll ever need. Made with moisture-wicking fabric and a 4-way stretch technology, Tana leggings deliver a secure, flexible, and ultra-flattering fit that moves effortlessly with every workout or through your everyday. Customers consistently rave about their performance, calling them the best leggings I've ever owned, perfect for every workout or every day. Noting that they stay in place, feel like a second skin, and even work like a push-up bra for my butt.
Yeah. My favorite. That's my favorite part of that ad.
I know. With 100% fit and happiness guarantee, Tana positions its leggings as the perfect blend of style, performance, and durability. Truly, apparently, the final black legging you will ever need. Visit www.tonaactive.com for 16% off your order with our exclusive code, Stay Suspicious.
I mean, I need a push-up bra for my butt. I just need to get in there and order this. I think I'm going to do that and report back to our listeners.
Please do.
Also, your girl's not an athlete, but I move around a bit. I expect my leggings to move with me. So, yeah, I think I'm a candidate. So, we'll stay tuned. And the discount is generous. But meanwhile, shall we hear a quick medical mishap before we sign off?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
This message is entitled, Hi, Jenna and Amanda. I'm a pharmacist working in a busy urban hospital, and this story has haunted me since the day it happened. One afternoon during a hectic shift with multiple medication orders flooding in, a nurse came rushing to me with a question about a patient's IV antibiotics. The label on the medication bag didn't seem right. The antibiotic that was ordered was vancomycin, but the label said vancomycin, which is a completely different drug that's used for respiratory issues and not bacterial infections. I immediately pulled the medication from the floor and double-checked the orders and pharmacy records. Turns out, due to a mix-up in the compounding room, 2 medications with similar names and similar packaging had been swapped.
Yikes.
Good catch. That nurse caught it just in time before it was administered to the patient, with potentially deadly consequences. If that medication had gone into the patient's IV line, the consequences would have been severe, including respiratory distress and cardiac complications. We traced the error back, quarantined the batch, and implemented stricter labeling protocols. Well done. And this is an instance where nobody needs to be blamed. You just figure out what the system error is and you fix it. It's nobody's fault.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, this, whatever we're doing, it looks too similar. Let's change it. Nobody needs to get thrown under the bus about this. I love that this situation, at least as far as we know, isn't mentioning any punitive action. the writer goes on to say, that day reminded me how fragile the chain of safety really is and how easily one small error could cascade into a life-threatening event. I still think about that patient and the dedicated nurse who caught the mistake before it was too late. Yours truly, a hospital pharmacist who sees the fine line between safety and catastrophe. Bless your heart.
Wow.
Bless your heart, pharmacists,
Yes.
and bless your heart, nurses, and everybody else who stands up to point out safety issues, because that's the only way we get better. That's the only way we save lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done.
All right. What can we expect to hear next week from you, Jenna?
Well, I feel like we've heard a lot about murderous doctors, dentists, nefarious nurses, but I'm going to flip the coin a bit, and we're going to talk about some potentially disastrous patients. Yeah, baby. We're talking some dirty patients, some dastardly patients.
I
don't know if it'll be patients or a patient. But I have a handful, and it's really scary that I have to pick from them as we're providers that have to deal with patients, and yikes. But yeah, we're going to go on a journey. So I hope everyone stays tuned and buckles up for next week.
Yee! I'm excited.
But meanwhile, don't miss a beat. Subscribe or follow Doctoring the Truth wherever you enjoy your podcasts for stories that shock, intrigue, and educate. Trust, after all, is a delicate thing. You can text us directly on our website. There's a little purple thing that says text us, and that is a link. Text us. And it links to our website at doctoringthetruth@buzzsprout.com. You can email us any story ideas. We've been taking listeners and sponsors' story ideas, so send them over. Guys, we're really open to suggestions. And our email is doctoringthetruth@gmail.com. If you follow us on Instagram at Doctoring the Truth Podcast, on Facebook at Doctoring the Truth, and we're on TikTok at Doctoring the Truth while TikTok is still around, and EdAudPod, EDAUDPOD. We may have to get on Vine, the new recreation of Vine. Yes, they're bringing it back, girly. It's coming.
Vine's coming back?
Yes. And they're not going to allow AI and stuff, so that'll be cool. So, anyway.
I never know anything that's going on. Just let me know what I should do.
But honestly, guys, I've had some listeners approach me and be like, well, we were afraid to make comments, whatever. Oh my gosh, if we could get a few comments, it would show that people are actually listening, because we know you are. We hear from you. We see your downloads. So leave us at least a comment of some kind, or at least rate and review wherever you listen. And
can they make like a username when they do it, so it doesn't have to be their name?
Absolutely. No, it doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us.
Anonymous.
You just put whatever you want. But it's Apple, it's Spotify. Our primary users are Apple and Spotify, but we have Castbox and all kinds of places that you can leave a review wherever you listen. It just shows that we're out there. It doesn't have to be. If it was, 5 out of 5 would be amazing. But, let's be realistic. Maybe one whiffle, the parrot squeaking in the background. It's a 4.5. I get that. But, just.
We get it. We're not going to hold a grudge like Garcia, okay?
Let's generate some traffic so we can show that we're out there and other people can enjoy, and we can keep going and keep motivated to do this, because we love it and we love our listeners. So, until you leave us a review, until you listen.
Until then,
stay safe and stay suspicious. Right? Bye.
Just stay suspicious.
Stop. You know what I was doing? I was poking. It's still going.